Welcome to your geography class. Today, finally, we are going to complete our chapter number 3. So, let's discuss our inside the chapter questions without any further delay. Again, the format will be simple, having the MCQs 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 or 5 mark questions. So, here are our MCQs. Which of the following river has the largest river basin in India? So, that is Ganga itself. These questions can come in the MCQ form, fill up form, one word, or one sentence answers. It depends on your teacher itself. Question number 2. What separates two drainage basins? So it is water divide. Such kind of answers has to be learned properly. Question number 3. Which of the following is a characteristic of Himalayan rivers out of these 4? Seasonal flow? No, it's not there because these are the perennial rivers and flow through the rift valleys. This is also the character of the peninsular rivers. Formation of meanders and oxbow lake, yes, this is the main character to be considered for the Himalayan river system or Himalayan rivers. Next question, which river is also known as or by the name of Dakshin Ganga? That is Godavari, because this is the longest river among all the peninsular rivers. Next is, where does the river Brahmaputra enters India? So it enters through a gorge by the Namcha Parvat mountain and Namcha Barwa. So through a gorge in Arunachal Pradesh. That Namcha Barwa is situated onto the boundaries of Arunachal Pradesh and the China part itself. What is the main feature of the Narmada river flow? That it flows through with a rift valley. Simple one, along with the Tapi as well. Which lake is the largest freshwater lake in India? Wular Lake. Again, such kind of questions has to be learned properly. Of course, I'm talking about their answer part. So that was all about the MCQs. Now, one word kind of questions. What is the world's largest drainage basin? Amazon. Talking about India, that will be Ganga. So, Amazon basin is the world's largest basin. Which rivers forms the Sundarban Delta? Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. Which river is called Sangpo in Tibet? That is Brahmaputra, because it does flows throughout the Tibet region and it is not the Indian territory, so it is having its individual name. Although it is not necessary that if a river flows within the Indian territory, only then it will be having a single name or will be considered by some other names also. So options can be both of them. Either a river can be known by a single name throughout its flow, or it can be referred with the other names, as it is the case of Brahmaputra over here. Then, which river is joined by the Alaknanda at Devprayag, Uttarakhand? That is Bhagirathi. From thereafter only, the combined water flow is known as Ganga. Which river was historically known as the Sorrow of Bengal? It's not the Kosi one. It is the other river, that is Damodar, a tributary, not the main river. Describe the major. Now we are talking about the describe part, so quite obviously there are 3 or 5 marks questions. Describe the major difference between the Himalayan rivers and peninsular rivers. Now you must be wondering, we have already discussed that in the exercise part. Of course, we have discussed over there, but kindly read the further part of the question in terms of their origin, flow and other important characteristics as well. So we have to discuss it once again. Talking about their origin, Himalayan rivers, they originate from the Himalayan mountain ranges. Peninsular river originates from the Western Ghats or Central Highlands itself. So there is a difference of origin. Then going with the flow and length, these are perennial rivers fed by both rain and melting snow, and these are seasonal rivers, receive water during rainfall. Particularly talking about the length, they have long courses, they have short courses. And of course, on the basis of their length, they do have their short and long basins as well. Talking about another 2 features, erosion activity and depositional features. So, from the Himalayan rivers, they do perform intensive, speedy erosion or gradual erosion, because these rivers climb from the top peak of the mountains and they come down towards the plains. So, speedy, frequent erosion in their upper course and form features like gorges. Talking about peninsular, they flow through older plateaus and are less erosive. because plateaus are flat land. So the features that are formed by the rivers, they are formed less in the peninsular part. Now the depositional features, so they do form meanders, oxbow lakes and deltas. Talking about the peninsula, they particularly form estuaries. Do we have more features? No, that was all discussed about that important features of Himalayan and peninsular river system. Here is another question. Discuss the economic benefits of rivers and lakes. Although it has been discussed, but what we have to consider over here, for a country like India, highlighting their roles in the agriculture, hydropower generation and tourism. So we have to give the benefits emphasizing onto these parts. They do give quite a developmental goal within any economy of the world, and hereby we have to talk about India's. So talking about the agriculture, rivers provide water for irrigation, essential for India's agrarian economy. Agrarian, we are aiming towards the agricultural practices to be done in India. Fertile floodplains support intensive farming in India, and for that part too, water is required. Hydropower generation, so many rivers are there, whether we talk about Himalayan rivers or the peninsular rivers. So many rivers are dammed. Dams are constructed over these rivers for generating hydroelectric power. Artificial lakes are also created for the dams construction, and they do provide the consistent water flow or availability of water throughout the year. Tourism and recreation concept, we have to discuss about their role within the Indian economy. So lakes and rivers attract tourists for boating park, for water sports and for scenic beauty as well, and tourism helps in boosting local economies, and local economies are going to boost up the national economy of our India. That was all about the concept of economic contribution. Talking about two more in extra, all that was not asked in the question, but yet it can be asked by your examiner, by your teacher. So here is the answer. Related to flood control and water regulation, lakes regulate the flow of rivers and preventing floods and maintaining water levels through the dry season. So during the rainy season, it controls the flood because extra water is to be stored in the lakes, and during the dry season, they do provide water throughout the year, whatever dry span is there. Talking about aquatic ecosystems, so rivers and lakes support biodiversity, variety of the animals and plants that are present in water. So we are talking about aquatic biodiversity, ecosystems critical for fisheries and ecological balance. Now finally our question ends over here. Next question. Explain the causes and results, consequences of river pollution in India, and what measures have been taken under the National River Conservation Plan, that is NRCP, to address these issues. Which issues? We are talking about river pollution and its effects. So we have to discuss in detail exactly. So river pollution is the contamination of river water by harmful substances or microorganisms. How we are adding the contamination, how we are adding the pollutants within the water while we are giving the outlet of industrial waste and urbanization waste, sewage water, and we are releasing it, we are giving the outlet of these polluted water within the open water body. So of course that is going to pollute the river water. This contamination can make the water unsafe for human use and harmful to aquatic life as well. Causes of this pollution: untreated sewage water, told you na, urbanization waste, industrial effluents discharge into rivers. We are giving the polluted contaminants, or we are giving the outlet of the pollutants mixed in the sewage water, industrial waste, and we are releasing that in the water bodies. Increased urbanization and industrialization leading to higher pollution loads. Agriculture runoff. Agriculture runoff, we are talking about the pesticides and fertilizers that we are using within the process of agriculture. Whenever rain comes, those pollutants of the pesticides, chemicals, although they are quite obviously, so those chemicals are added up within the flowing water, and finally flowing water leads to the inlet within the open water body, that is river itself. and that is how again water gets polluted. Along with that, we have to discuss their results as well. So again, it is unfit for usage of the aquatic life, whether we are talking about the animal or we are talking about the plants or vegetation. Along with that, it is quite obviously unsafe for use by the humans. So degraded water quality impacting human health, reduces self-cleansing capacity of rivers, and loss of aquatic biodiversity. We do have some concerns that are initiated by the Indian government under the NRCP. So the Ganga Action Plan has been taken within the 1985, the first ever. It was initiated to clean the Ganga river, to preserve the river water, expanded to other rivers in 1995 under the same plan, NRCP only. It focuses on the pollution abatement and improving water quality, that is conserving the river water, protecting it from the pollution part. Last question for the day. Elaborate on the formation and significance of deltas in India. So we have to completely discuss about the deltas, and of course giving specific reference to the Sundarban Delta, one of the largest deltas of the world, formed by Ganga and Brahmaputra river. So first of all, introduction to the delta part. A river delta is a landform created by the deposition of the sediments that are being brought by the river, that are carried by the water of the river. And whenever the river water is finally in the terms of meeting up in the open water body, that are seas or oceans, at the river mouth, these deltas are formed. Formation of delta, so formed by the deposition of the silt and sand, particularly at the mouth of the river as it enters slower moving water bodies like sea. And rivers like the Ganga and Brahmaputra deposit sediments, creating extensive deltaic plains. These deltaic plains are quite fertile as well. Sundarban Delta, we have to give this specific reference. So, the world's largest and fastest growing delta. It is named after one of the particular species of the trees, that is Sundari. So, named after the Sundari tree, which survives in marshy lands formed by the Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. That is the specific reference of Ganga and Brahmaputra Delta, also known as Sundarban Delta. Finally, the significance of the deltaic part. So, deltas are fertile and they support agriculture because they are fertile itself. They provide habitat of diverse wildlife, including the Royal Bengal tiger, that are protected species. Important for fishing, aquaculture and tourism. Acts as a natural barrier against the storms and tidal surges. That is how the vegetation is protecting the human settlements from these natural disasters that do occur naturally itself. So that was all about the discussion of the inside the chapter questions as well. Hope things are clear enough. Again, I hope the tests are to be conducted regularly after each and every chapter's completion. If not so, still we have to learn no matter what happens. So best of luck for your studies. Carry on. Keep up the spirits. See you soon in the next class with the discussion of chapter number 4 through various, continuing videos. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.